What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Welcome back once again to Wheel Takes.
We changed how we normally do this.
I just wanted to mess with it. I wanted to throw everybody into a state of general confusion.
It threw me into a state of general confusion.
How about this? Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back once again to Wheel Takes, a podcast about the Wheel of Time, a series of fantasy novels written by Robert Jordan and completed by Brandon Sanderson. And sometimes we say Branbert or Jimden or Brobden or whatever. My name is Gus. I've read all of them.
And I'm Allie, and I've never read a book.
You know, you've actually made that exact joke like twice before, and it's still funny.
Thank you.
Over in the corner is Petey, who is panting because he's a little warm. But the air conditioning is on, so soon he will be less warm.
So he just needs to suck it up.
He just needs to take a minute, bask in the glow of the air conditioner. Why is it glowing? Shouldn't be. It's not.
Well, really, the air conditioner is basking in the glow of our unreasonably beautiful dog.
He is very, very handsome.
People yell out the window of their cars at me about how beautiful this dog is.
He's a very handsome
No one's
dog.
looked at my face in a year and a half since we got this dog.
We are here today. This podcast only contains spoilers for what Allie has already read. And today, that is technically everything up to and including The Gathering Storm, Chapter 7. Although this episode should only be Chapter 6. Allie?
Yes.
What's up?
I'm in a grumpy mood today.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it was just the fact that I was supposed to have a chill day today, and it turned into not a chill day very quickly. Do it. And that makes me so grumpy, and that has spiraled into I'm grumpy about everything.
It's true. It's very fun.
Yeah, I'm grumpy about everything. Everything.
Except for one thing.
What?
You asked that we watch the movie.
Yes.
I may be mispronouncing this, but the Miyazaki movie Ponyo.
Okay, well, because here's the thing. I am angry because I had to work on a Sunday. Much more than it'd be one thing if I knew I needed to work on a Sunday, but I didn't know I needed to work on a Sunday, and my day became full of dealing with
miscellaneous
other people,
tasks,
and so I got very grumpy about that.
That'll do it.
And then of course that spiraled into me being grumpy about myself as a person, as it does sometimes. I'm just nothing. None of my clothes look good. My face doesn't look good. I just get grumpy.
Very silly.
And I know I'm doing this. I know that I'm just looking for things to be grumpy about because that's sometimes how spiraling works. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to look for stuff to be grumpy about. And then all of a sudden, I've been talking for a couple days now because Gus and I watched Kiki's Delivery Service and Spirited Away.
Yes.
I was like, I've never seen Ponyo. I've always wanted to see Ponyo, and I've never seen Ponyo. And then all of a sudden, Gus brought up, he was like, well, because we've been doing movie nights every night for a while now. And so I was like, well, Gus, what do you want to watch tonight? And then he was like, well, I don't know, because he was afraid to move or breathe. He goes, I don't know. What do you want to watch tonight? And I was like, maybe, even though I have gotten to pick the past 3 movies.
You have. However, admittedly.
And usually it's every other.
Monday, we did go see a screening of Lawrence of Arabia, which was my idea, and that movie is 4 hours long.
And right before then, we went to go see Seven Samurai, which is a 3-hour-long movie.
Well, that was a month. Admittedly, a month went between those.
But have we had a movie night since?
Yes, we watched The Sandlot.
Well, that was a friend wanted us to go to that.
It
so that's
still
not my
counts.
movie night.
You suggested
that's not my movie night.
We
no.
watched Airplane.
Okay, that was for a work thing.
We maybe we didn't. I don't know.
Okay.
But regardless, my point being, it's fair that you get to
stands.
pick several movies in a row, considering at the least Lawrence of Arabia and at the most Lawrence of Arabia and Seven Samurai.
And Spirited
2 of the
Away,
longest movies ever.
And Spirited Away was a movie we started a long time ago.
Very long time ago.
And then you got very tired because it was a tiring day. And then we finally finished. But though you did make me start over, as you do.
It was months. We've been over this, and people are giving me so much shit now.
And it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy.
I'm glad it makes you happy.
Have you finished any of the things on the list since?
I finished Spirited Away.
Okay, there you go. One movie. We finished. But so then we watched we watched Kiki's Delivery Service, which is a delightful movie.
Charming.
And then we watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which we had to watch because
Very
I
good
suggested
movie.
it, and then I was worried we'd forget that I
Also,
suggested it.
really relevant to part of Chapter 7.
It is. And so, but then I was really grumpy, and I was like, what are we watching tonight? And then you were like, I don't know. Scary monster that has possessed my wife. What are we watching?
Well, again, I was going to suggest a Wong Kar-wai movie, but I didn't think you were feeling Wong Kar-wai movies.
I am not feeling Wong Kar-wai. I like Wong Kar-wai movies, to be clear. I just am really grumpy right now about everything except for the movie Ponyo.
Yes, Wong
So
Kar-wai
tonight we will be watching Ponyo.
being the director probably most well known for Chungking Express, based in Hong Kong. Anyway, regardless,
We will be watching
Ponyo.
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 Yes.
And maybe after, if we still have time after Ponyo, maybe we can watch a Wong Kar-wai movie.
Yes, I would probably be open to that post watching Ponyo because I feel like Ponyo would make me feel good about being alive again.
Good. I hope that. Yes.
By the way, I feel good about being alive all the time because
Yes.
I'm obsessed with you and the life we
Thank you,
built
darling.
together. I just today, for some reason,
Had a rough day.
after being forced to do a lot of things that I should not have been forced to do. I just got unreasonably grumpy. And
Well-
so I think I just need the joy of a little fish princess.
It was a lot of logistical
Named
work, and
Ponyo.
you specifically hate logistical work. Logistical
and
work
scheduling.
and
I had
scheduling.
to schedule, which is my least
Yeah.
favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
And I had to interrupt my manager's vacation to bother him about some things, which I don't like doing and made me feel like a bad client.
Well, you know who else?
Even though he was like, this is the kind of thing that you should interrupt my vacation for because it was a big deal thing. I got grumpy. Not about the big deal thing, but about the fact that I had to interrupt my manager's vacation to deal with the big deal thing.
That's adorable.
That was what I really got because I felt like a really bad client. And then I got really down on myself for being a bad client. And then
No.
even though he was like, please interrupt my vacation because it's not really a vacation. We're visiting my family and they need a lot of help. And so it's not really a vacation.
You know who else is having a rotten vacation?
The state of Denmark? I don't know.
General Turan.
Yes.
Not General
Sorry.
Turok.
We
He's
will actually
dead.
talk about real things.
No, you're
now.
good.
And not just about how grumpy I am that I had to work on a Sunday.
You're so good. I was playing some Bloodborne
The
because
people with children and the people who work on Sundays regularly are like, wow.
skip. Yeah, I know.
Well, no, okay.
I get it.
This is what everyone can identify with. If they think they have a day off and they don't,
that's a nightmare.
That's grumpy inducing.
Last week I mentioned that I started Bloodborne, and I slagged off Bloodborne a little bit, just to rile people up, just for fun. I am having a lot of fun playing Bloodborne. I still like Sekiro more, but I'm really enjoying it.
They're like, oh my God, are we still talking about all the things Gus doesn't finish, Miyazaki movies, and Bloodborne?
It's funny, because we didn't even record these 2 episodes on the same day.
I know.
It's very funny.
This was my grumpy day.
Chapter 6, we're going to pick it up here, but before we pick it up, we need to know where we left off. So, Allie, where did we leave off?
Rand.
No, kind of.
Semirog?
Not
Yeah.
battle. Semirog, not battle. Semirog, not
No,
battle. Semirog, not battle. Semirog, not battle.
We're not even stilling her.
That
Did we
would
say
be
what chapter
wise.
we're on?
6 and
6
7.
and
We're
7.
talking about 6, but you've read through 7.
Yes. I'm a little grumpy about the fact, speaking of grumpiness, that we're not stilling her.
I do actually think that might be wise, but she can't show them forbidden weaves. She can't show them the Dr. Pepper weave.
But remember when I said we should be stilling Maggedion, and then we didn't still Maggedion, and now we don't know where Maggedion is?
Well, I mean, Nynaeve basically did say, we forgot to still Maggedion, and it didn't go so good, so maybe we should still her.
I'm saying.
It could be wise.
We could probably learn from that experience, maybe.
Chapter 6 is where we're picking up. It's called When Iron Melts. When
probably not a good
iron
sign.
melts. We've got cold iron and hot iron, but this is molten iron.
Oh my God, I forgot about this. This was nutso. This was
You know what
wild,
this is?
wild
You know what
pants.
this shit is right here?
What is it?
Not ghosts. Not ghosts. Spooky stuff that isn't ghosts.
Spooky.
I miss the soundboard so much.
Yeah.
I love this stupid thing.
this thing.
We haven't used this in a minute.
We can't use it for anything right now.
Not really.
Well, maybe Liana's sinking into the ground.
Maybe, but I feel
That
like
was nuts.
I feel like we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
That was quite the bubble of weevil.
But I gotta say, man, I feel like the bubbles of evil have gotten a lot creepier, right?
yeah.
Because in the early books, they were like spooky and weird. And then in the middle books, they kind of came and went. And some of them were genuinely really fucking scary. Like Crossroads had some really fucking creepy ones. But there were also a lot of them that were just like, look, it's a ghost, which is creepy, but didn't really have any effect. Or
True.
like, the door moved, which is, again, creepy. But everybody was just kind of like, well, that sucks.
We almost lost Liana.
Liana almost fell into a fucking quicksand.
And considering
Speaking of Lawrence of Arabia,
Arabia,
there you go. That is I watched that movie. I went, oh, this is why everyone was obsessed with quicksand.
Okay, can I drop spoilers for a movie that is very old?
I think it is fair for us to spoil Lawrence of Arabia, considering that Lawrence of Arabia is based on actual things that happened.
Here's the thing about Lawrence of Arabia. Oh my, and this is relevant. I promise.
It's extremely. Lawrence of Arabia is highly relevant to the Wheel of Time.
The entire time I was watching Lawrence of Arabia, I was like, okay, so every male fantasy and sci-fi writer of the 90s and maybe 80s got really high
and part of the 60s.
Lawrence of Arabia and went, I'm gonna write that shit down and put it in space.
Well, Dune, right?
Yes.
Dune.
Dune
it's
and
Dune,
Lawrence of Arabia are beat for beat. Beat for fucking beat so far of the two movies that I have watched of Dune are beat for beat.
They're pretty similar.
Same.
They're pretty similar.
Except that in Dune there are women in it.
There are, in fact, no lines spoken by women in Lawrence of Arabia.
There are two scenes with women in it. One has a woman's hand in it.
Yes.
That's it.
And the other one is a bunch of women ululating as the guys march off to war.
Yes.
By the way, incredible fucking movie.
Incredible movie. Just no women in it.
Even though the main Arabic leader is Sir Alec Guinness with a spray tan. Incredible movie nonetheless.
It's true.
I read up.
I was like, that's a white man.
Yeah.
A white man?
Yeah.
No.
Listen, we went, all right, 1962.
And you know what? Surprisingly progressive for 1962.
All things considered.
For the most part.
Yeah. Not perfect.
No, definitely a white savior movie. Definitely. That's true. Definitely.
Yes. And
yes.
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 Yeah, well, yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
But the other message, and there was a white dude with a spray tan, but otherwise, and no women in it, but otherwise, everyone's going to be laughing because they're like, wait, how progressive is this movie?
Also based on things that actually, I think it's important for us to reiterate here, very much things loosely based around things that very much actually happened.
Yeah.
Like the whole council thing at the end, the movie actually made the council thing less lasting. Apparently in real life they ruled, I forgot the name of the city because it's Sunday and I can't think, they ruled the city for a few years until the French came in. We're like, fuck you guys, it's our city now. But
don't you love when that happens?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, it was great.
Really good movie.
There's just no women in it.
Yes, and some other things that we've addressed.
But
all that to say,
mostly the unfortunate spray tan.
I read a little bit about, so we're going to talk about the Wheel of Time.
We are talking about the Wheel of Time. Because,
we are, actually.
Wait, because the spoilers that I was going to drop, if I may, is that there were two kids that show up and start working for Lawrence, and Lawrence is rather unsure about them, but kind of like takes them under his wing, and they're like, the gods are smiling on you because like taking in wayward kids like this is gonna be lucky. And I was like, those kids are fucking dead. I said that the minute they showed up and were being adorable.
Can I be pedantic?
What?
It's a monotheism. You said gods.
All right, well, God.
Sorry, I just thought, yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Anyway, and then both those kids died.
They do, in fact, die.
Yeah.
One of them falls into quicksand.
And that's the relevant part of this whole conversation is that this kid gets trapped in quicksand and they try to save him and he just sinks, and it was very upsetting. And also I was like, potentially gave birth to all of the random things with quicksand in it in the 90s.
Probably,
too.
yes.
I feel this very strongly in my bones, that this made some kind of lasting impression on the people who were writing in the 90s.
Well, because they would have seen it. The people who were like ascendant in their art
would have
making
been young
would
when
have
they
been
watched
young
this.
when they watched
Yes.
this. I talked to my dad about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, watching Lawrence of Arabia for the first time, like on a big screen, was as
when you
formative
when you were young, yeah.
for me as like watching Star Wars for the first time." He's like, "It was there was nothing like it."
Yeah. It was like a wild adventure movie that was also super dark,
Extremely dark, 4 hours long.
so long, had an intermission.
Which we should bring back. Seven Samurai also had an intermission.
We should bring back intermissions because I am sick of trying to time when I have to pee during a movie.
But yeah.
And you might say, Allie, drink less water. Fuck you. No, I won't.
But look, is Lawrence of Arabia also kind of Rand al'Thor? Yeah, a little bit.
Yes. No, I'm serious.
Paul Atreides.
Okay.
Rand.
Paul Atreides, Rand. Honestly, Star Wars.
100%.
Yeah.
Except
literally
that
every movie.
Star Wars doesn't have, Luke doesn't like, well,
and that's
I
not
guess
me
maybe
saying
the
these are
Ewoks.
like cheap knockoffs.
No.
This is me saying there are 7 stories in the world.
My acting teacher always says there are only 7 stories, and we have been retelling them in different varieties since the dawn of time.
Yep.
And that's fine.
And that's fine. And you know what? It's about taking that story and doing something interesting and creative
what's
with it.
your spin on it?
But yeah, so they were like, I'm going to do Lawrence of Arabia in space. Or I'm going to do fantasy Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh, yeah. No, watching Lawrence of Arabia, I just kept thinking of Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
I kept turning to you and going, oh my God, it's Dune. Oh my God, it's The Wheel of Time. Oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I kept doing that. And he was like, other people are in this theater. You must stop talking to me. But not really.
No, you were right, though. It was.
No, you kept giving me a thumbs up. After a while, I didn't even have to say anything. I'd just go and look at you.
Yeah.
Which is the fun thing about marriage, is after a while, you just have to look at each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then, So, and we've got the quicksand scene here. We've had multiple quicksand scenes in these books.
Yes, we have.
But I'm just like, I just want to know, was there as much of a conversation about quicksand prior to Lawrence of Arabia?
I have to think that it was, because maybe, I don't know.
Know.
Because I feel like a significant amount of like Western cultural zeitgeist about exploration or adventure, or especially deserts, can be traced back to Lawrence of Arabia since the 60s.
And a bunch of people, I was talking on Hot Nuance podcast about like all of a sudden there was this random, not random, but like kind of like simultaneous obsession with creating desert cultures in sci-fi and fantasy.
Yeah.
Like everyone had to have their desert dwellers and everyone had to have their horse lords. And I was like, could it be possible that we could trace this back a little bit to Lawrence of Arabia? All of these things where it was like our weird obsession with quicksand that made us all think that in adulthood we'd encounter this
all
a lot more than we do.
Yeah. I can count how many times I've encountered quicksand on no hands.
No hands.
Never once.
Never once.
Thought it was going to be a much bigger problem.
I hope I never do. I thought that was like a thing we needed to look out for. Sinkholes and quicksand.
Yeah.
And so far, so good on that.
I feel like it's Lawrence of Arabia and Lord of the Rings. Horse lords.
Horse lords.
And Conan.
Yeah. A never-ending story, maybe?
Wasn't that the 90s?
80s. 80s was never-ending story. But 80s had the horse sinking into the marsh.
Yeah.
So I'm like, could that have been influenced once again
by Lawrence
of Arabia?
Maybe. It's also very possible that it was just in the general consciousness.
Because of
Lawrence of
Arabia. I'm saying it's Lawrence of Arabia all the way down.
You know who else went all the way down? The kid who sunk into the quicksand. It was very sad.
And almost Leane, who almost sunk into the quicksand that was the building.
Yeah. Big bummer.
So we want to talk about it?
Yeah, Allie, but first off, as we are 20 minutes in, do you have any notes?
Okay, but this was all very relevant because I'm starting to think that Lawrence of Arabia has influenced all of popular culture.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it is...
Lawrence of Arabia and Seven Samurai.
Seven Samurai also...
Which became High Noon?
The Magnificent Seven.
The Magnificent Seven.
Same movie.
But High Noon and a different one are the same movie,
no,
too.
Yojimbo and the Fistful of Dollars are the same. That one is actually
but there's
a
one
shot-for-shot
that's like
ripoff.
High Noon is also a ripoff of something, I think.
That one's about a duel.
Yes. I swear to God. Because
No, I trust you. You took a class.
Because
I
I
know.
took a class.
Hold on. While you're doing your notes, I'll look it up.
Okay, because I took a class in college called Cowboys and Samurai, which is about Westerns and samurai movies and kind of like their conversation that they had with each other. But High Noon was influenced by something.
You get your notes.
You find out. Okay, here's my notes. Half of his forces are dead. Jesus Christ. Yojimbo.
Yojimbo is a shot-for-shot... A Fistful of Dollars is a shot-for-shot remake of Yojimbo.
Oh.
It may have been inspired by parts of Yojimbo.
Then I can't remember.
Yojimbo is
I thought that
a
High Noon was
tremendous movie, by
also
the
one,
way.
but...
It possibly, yeah. People.
Ronin?
What?
Was there a movie called Ronin?
Ronin? Yeah, but that's just a term for... There probably was a movie called Ronin. I haven't seen it.
I think it started with an R.
Not Rashomon. Because Rashomon is a trial movie, which also,
No, not
by the way,
Rashomon.
influenced and informed a bajillion things. We need to stop talking about film.
I think it's fascinating.
It is, but the
Okay.
people are here to hear us talk about quicksand, not quicksand.
These are all related.
I know.
Okay. I'll have you know, Rodel, we Sean Chan learn from our mistakes.
I know, every time that comes up.
The Ravens had begun was the end of his thing.
Yeah.
As in, like, the Ravens were eating people. And I was like, banger line.
Yeah.
Liana POV, yes.
I know.
I was very excited about that. Loving Liana and Egwene's friendship.
It's nice, isn't it?
Okay, this is a quote. Odd how a novice to be instructed could be beaten, but a prisoner to be interrogated could not. Preach.
Yeah.
Honestly. I will not hear a thing against my women, Egwene and Liana at this time. And then I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And I stopped writing.
All right.
Because iron melted.
It did. I can't find anything about High Noon being a direct pull
then
from
I
a
don't
samurai
know.
movie, but it was definitely inspired by
Well,
the genre.
we definitely had to watch High Noon. And so
I'm sure you did, because it's probably inspired by the genre.
And another movie at the same time. I don't remember.
Well, I have a lot of samurai movies I want to watch, so we can work our way through and think about it. Chapter 6 is going to start right after these ads. At some point, we will stop dithering.
No.
Speaking of dithering, you remember how I talked about how I dither before I buy things?
Yes.
Remember that? Well, we were camping, and I bought this little lantern for the tent, and it was on sale. I was like, I'll grab this. I didn't do any research, and I thought to myself, you should... And then I went, nah, whatever. It's a Coleman. It'll be fine. It sucks. It broke, and it doesn't work when the battery pack is inserted. If the battery pack is unlocked and hanging halfway out, it works. But it doesn't work if the fucking battery pack is installed. So that'll teach me to not do research. Chapter 6, When Iron Melts, a Rodel chapter at the beginning. What is this?
It is... What the fuck is
I
that?
know. It's a cool one,
That's
isn't it?
different.
That's a newer one.
That's some kind of fractal shape.
It is something. Think of your grandmother's couch.
Is it lace?
Kind of. Yes, it is the lace. It is the weave coming undone.
Ah, I see.
It is it is not the weave Gale of Waterdeep, Gale Decarios style, but the weave your video game boyfriend. We are going to talk about the Wheel of Time.
Oh my God, we are jumping all over the place.
Wheel of Time, the book, the chapter, here we are. Rodel Ituralde. Rodel, the motherfucker Ituralde, had seen a lot of battlefields. Some things were always the same. Dead men like piles of rags lying in heaps, also relevant to Lawrence of Arabia. Ravens.
Wait, say it again?
Dead men.
Oh, yeah, and the knife.
Like piles of rags lying in heaps.
And, like, knives.
I mean, admittedly, any movie about war is going to be connected to that, but...
Knives.
No, dead men.
No, but, like, people looking in the knife.
There is that, yeah. Ravens eager to dine. If they bring that back in the show, if they have, what's his name? Taylor Napier, look into a sword that is bloody.
Then that's a direct.
Then that is a direct
Lawrence
reference
of
to Lawrence of
Arabia
Arabia
reference.
because he looked into a clean knife and his reflection. Anyway, we're gonna I'm sorry.
We're not done talking about Lawrence of Arabia.
It's a really good movie. It's really good. Each battlefield also had its own individual print. You could read a battle like the trail of passing game. Corpses lying in rows that were disturbingly straight indicated a charge of footmen who'd been pressed against volleys of arrows. Scattered and trampled bodies were the result of infantry breaking before heavy cavalry. This battle had seen large numbers of Shanshan crushed up against the walls of Darluna, where they had fought with desperation, hammered against the stone. One section of wall was completely torn away, where some Damane had tried to escape into the city. Fighting in streets and among homes would have favored the Shanshan. They hadn't made it in time. Allie, how's this battle go? How did it go?
Okay, so they won, but they took heavy
losses.
casualties.
Yeah.
Heavy.
But is Rodel okay with that?
I mean, as okay with it as you can be. Like, he knew that this was likely as an outcome, and he's okay with it insofar as they retook the city. That's what he wanted. They did not retake the city.
They were already in the city.
Yeah, but they kicked the Shanshan out.
The Shanshan were coming to take
Well, they
the
defended the city.
They weren't trying to defend the city.
What were they doing
They
there
were trying
then?
to destroy this Shanshan army.
Which they did do.
Which they did. Yes.
Yes. And
That's yes.
And they're like, you fools. People will just come back.
Yeah.
Like, Suroth's going to be pissed and bring Hyrrakin back. And I'm like, Suroth has been deposed. So who knows what she's going to do. But they don't know that.
Who is a more dangerous person, a more competent person to have in charge, Suroth or Tuon?
I don't really know Tuon as a leader.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's really hard to say, but you can't get more dumbass than Suroth.
That's
so I'm
also
assuming
true.
she's an improvement.
I would probably say yes. I think that we've seen enough of Tuon to
And
know
Matt
she has
seems to
rudimentary
like
strategy.
her.
Yeah.
So, which I don't know why, but he seems to. And I guess I trust his judgment on that. I don't know.
What was Rodel Ituralde's intention behind this campaign? Or what was his realistic goal?
Destroy this one Shanshan army.
Sure, but even broader than that. That's over now. Is he going to go home?
No.
No.
He's going to keep pressing on. He wants to liberate the land correctly from the Shanshan.
Does he consider this a realistic goal?
No.
No. Why is he doing it?
Because someone has to.
Yes.
Because one day the youths of tomorrow will use their rebellion as a platform for their own.
Yes.
That's what he said.
Yes.
Which I was like, do you hear the people singing the songs of angry men?
Pretty much.
It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. You hear that?
Very relevant.
You hear that?
Battle was always a mess. The only neat battles were the ones in stories or history books.
He loves to do that.
Those had been cleaned and scoured by the abrasive hands of scholars looking for conciseness.
This is true.
Aggressor won, 53,000 killed. Or defender stood, 20,000 fallen.
It's true. Partially it's that the human brain cannot wrap their head around that many people.
I don't remember who said this, but there's a line that is something like, one death is a tragedy, a million deaths is a statistic.
It's true. Because you are much more likely to be, that's why they spend so much time humanizing these statistics, is because your brain reads that and goes, that sucks. And you physically can't really wrap your mind around the sheer magnitude of that loss.
Yeah. Rodel lost 50,000 men.
That's horrific.
On any other battlefield, 50,000 casualties would have shamed and angered him, but he'd faced down a force 3 times his size, and one with Damane at that.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. I just believe that we shouldn't have wars.
It'd be good.
I think that we should just build battle robots and fight them in the desert.
The desert,
away from
in
everyone.
Lawrence of Arabia desert?
Yeah, but it's robots of Arabia.
Or wherever.
Or wherever.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Arabia.
Doesn't have to be Arabia.
The shadows, so he thinks about how he doesn't know who the people are that he killed, and he's like, well, that kind of sucks. So he meets up with this Shanshan general. Give me a rundown on the strategy. How did they make this fight work?
They posed as civilians, and they had the women and children pose as incoming army.
Yeah.
And so that then they would go away from the incoming army and go toward the quote unquote civilians.
Yeah.
And then the civilians were actually the armed forces.
Pretty much.
And then the guy in charge was like, well, what if we had like gone for the women and children? And he was like, it was a calculated risk.
Yeah. So this is the battle we saw in the prologue. This is the outcome of that battle.
I feel like eventually they would have been like, hold on.
They're not fighting.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. This is the outcome of that battle that we saw start at the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, he dressed up the camp followers in armor and had them basically march towards the Shanshan. The Shanshan ran away from them towards what they thought was a smaller force, and then they were like, may as well grab that city. And the city was full of people in the buildings. And the Shanshan are like, what the fuck? Like, we have Rakan. And he was like, you have air scouts and nothing else. So we were inside.
Really see. Yeah. You can't really tell.
Yeah, him then, Turan said, looking up at Ituralde. He was a stout man, far from tall, with a peaked nose. His close-cropped black hair was shaved 2 finger widths up each side of his head, and his helm lay beside him on the ground, bearing
Actually sounds like a pretty dope haircut.
3 white plumes. I am, Ituralde said. They call you a great captain in Taraban. They do. It's deserved, Turan said, coughing. How did you do it? Us scouts. And they talk about all the stuff we just covered.
And then he cuts his head off.
Yeah. Turan also said, if we'd turned and attacked, and he goes, you wouldn't have. Your Rakan told you were outnumbered. Better to chase after the smaller force ahead of you. Better than that, to head for the city your scouts say is barely defended, even if it means marching your men near to exhaustion.
Dang.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't mean to spend too much time.
It's like, you were playing checkers, I was playing chess, buddies.
Yeah. He was like, listen, I know y'all learn from your mistakes. I don't make mistakes.
Ooh. That's cool.
Boom.
That's a good line.
What do I have for this? What can I hit for the I don't really have a good button to hit for this. This is not right. This is terrible.
No, I know. It's got to be something.
I mean, the closest thing
Mike's drop sound.
is that.
No.
It's still not right.
It's not right.
No. I got to work on this.
Yeah. You got to program in something.
I got to fix that.
For when Rodel Ituralde drops an incredible line.
Rodel, the motherfucker Ituralde himself. I learned to swear yesterday. All right. So.
He has the book to prove it.
I do. You realize what you have done. High Lady Surath will never accept this failure. She will have to break you now, if only to save face.
Luckily, she has been deposed.
I know, but I can't drive you back by attacking you in your fortresses. I need you to come to me. You don't understand the numbers we have. What you destroyed today is but a breeze compared to the storm you've raised. Enough of my people escaped today to tell of your tricks. They will not work again.
I guess I'll have to get some more tricks.
You know you can't beat us, Turan said softly. I see it in your eyes, great captain. Ituralde nodded. Why then? Why does a crow fly? Ituralde did know that he could not win his war against the Shanshan. Oddly, each of his victories made him more certain of his eventual failure. The Shanshan were smart, well-equipped, and well-disciplined. More than that, they were persistent. So,
yeah, but they suck.
Ituralde goes to leave, and what does Turan say?
He says, hasta la vista.
He says, yo, man, before you go, can you real quick
chop my head off? Yeah.
Very Shogun.
Because he doesn't want to have to apologize. Or
making more references to other intellectual properties. Very Shogun.
Very Shogun. Another thing that Robert Jordan was probably influenced by
listen,
way.
I read Shogun, phenomenal book. It is the most Robert Jordan inspirational thing I have ever fucking read. I read that and I'm like, you just straight
Robert
up
Jordan watched Lawrence of
100%
Arabia,
read Shogun, and you were like, yeah. And I got it. It's very clear that the prose style, the kind of the broad descriptions of events and of people and of actions and of what people look like. I'm like, this is the very, very Robert Jordan writing, I think.
Yes.
Definitely was an inspiration on him. And maybe there's an interview where Robert Jordan was like, I've never read Shogun and I think this guy's a hack.
Then that's a lie.
So yeah, that's that section. We switch to Liana Sharif. How's she?
About to get quicksanded.
About to get quicksanded. What
She's
are they?
She's not having a good time. She's in prison. They're not giving her new clothes, which that sounds like it sucks.
Yes.
And she has to like wash her dress in front of everybody.
Yes.
So she's like in the buff, washing that dress in front of everybody. This is humiliating.
Liana wore the same dress that she'd been captured in, and it had not yet been laundered. Every third morning, she removed it and used the morning's bucket of water after washing herself clean with a damp rag to clean the dress in her basin. But there was only so much one could do without soap. She'd braided her hair to give it a semblance of neatness, but could do nothing about her ragged nails.
Ew.
Liana sighed.
This is not chill.
What is she also ruminating on? How is she trying to get leverage, I should say? Come up in the world.
Talk shit about Elida?
No.
Oh, flirting.
Flirting.
It's not really working, though.
Not really working out.
She's kind of stinky.
And she is like, I don't feel sexy.
She's like, I don't have any deodorant.
Yeah, I don't feel sexy, and it's difficult for me to act sexy when I don't feel sexy.
That's very real
That's
of her.
very valid.
That's so valid. I agree. Hence, grumpy.
Liana sighed, thinking of those mornings spent standing in the corner of her cell, hidden from sight, wearing nothing while she waited for the dress and shift to dry. Just because she was Domani didn't mean she liked parading about without a scrap on. Proper seduction required skill and subtlety. Nudity used neither. So, yeah, she's...
All right. Wow.
Yeah, so Egwene's there. What are they talking about?
They're talking about how much Elida sucks, probably.
Yeah, and like, she's like, well, what are they going to do with me? Because I've been in jail for a minute.
I mean, that's a good question. I feel like Elida is so mercurial that would make me really nervous.
Yeah.
Because at any moment, that freaking pugnacious personality could just decide to lop your head off.
Good word.
Thank you.
Good word.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tower Law was very strict about the questioning of fellow sisters. They couldn't harm her, particularly not with the power, but they could just leave her alone to rot. So she's talking to Egwene, and Egwene is like, "It sucks, and I'm gonna take care of it, and Elida sucks, and it'll be all right." And then she gets up, and she's like, "Why did I leave handprints on the bars?"
Very good question. Very weird.
And then Liana pokes at the bars, and
they come apart.
She's like, "What the fuck?" And they start bending, and then suddenly the stones beneath Liana's feet shifted, and she felt herself sinking. She cried out. Globs of melted wax started to rain down from the ceiling, splattering across her face. They weren't warm, but they were somehow liquid. They had the color of stone. So Egwene grabs her, and she's like...
The room is melting.
Hey, guards, can you fucking help?
I feel like Robert Jordan was like, okay, I need something wild to happen. And then he just got super high and was like, melty room.
I've heard of the floor is...
the floor is lava.
But this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Or it's like, what if the furniture attacked?
I do love that. Listen, I'm glad we're getting back to old-style bubbles of evil, because we did have...
I like the bubbles.
We did have the peddler sink into the ground, but it wasn't quite the same.
We've just got a lot of ground sinkage.
Yeah, we've got a lot of, like, people falling into things.
Because they watched Lawrence of Arabia
That might have happened.
And they were like, I know what to do.
I want to reiterate another way that Lawrence of Arabia may have inspired the Wheel of Time. It's 4 hours long. And a lot of the movie is just guys riding from one place to another place.
That's true.
A lot of the movie.
And
so much of the
looking
movie
at stuff and talking about
is
stuff.
guys riding around from place to place and looking at stuff and talking about things and thinking about people.
And punching each other.
And occasionally getting in fights and a lot of eyeliner.
Looking at stuff and talking about things.
And yet somehow it is, if you watch, we saw it in a theater. Apparently it's not nearly as fun if you watch it in your house. And somehow it's enthralling. Anyway, it really was.
I think part of it is the vistas.
As a piece of cinematic history, I think it is very impressive. And the shots
are unbelievable considering they had a fraction of what we have now.
Yeah.
To get stuff done.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane. 1962 for that? Unbelievable.
Yeah. And they had camels and horses everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so many people.
Such a pain in the ass.
All right, so it is fun to watch the movie and see all the times where a camel's mouth is moving and you go, oh, that camel is braying up a storm, and they just cut all the audio from this and they dubbed in the dialogue later.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So yeah, the floor melts, and the Yellow Sisters help, and they pick her up, and Leane righted herself, scrambling off Egwene, her dress and legs coated with a strange wax, and stumbled back away from the cell. The floor here in the hallway felt stable. Light how she wished she could embrace the source herself, but she was too full of fork root, not to mention the shield. So it all worked out.
Yeah, they yell for the guards.
Yeah, the yellows help out. Mm-hmm. And Egwene goes, these sorts of events are more frequent. The Dark One is getting stronger. The last battle approaches. What is your Amerlin doing about it? And they look at her like, ooh, you shall return to your rooms, novice. And you, and she looks at her molten fucking cell and goes, we will have to relocate you.
And she's like, and a new dress, please, and thanks.
Why does she need a new dress?
Because it's all waxy. It's got stone on it.
It's got stone in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not good.
So at least she got a new dress out of the deal.
And they kick Egwene out, and then we switch to...
But it's probably not a very good dress.
Exhausted, disturbed by the stone-warping bubble of evil, Egwene walked with swishing skirts toward the tower wing.
And then this happens.
That contained the novices' quarters. What would it take to convince the foolish women that there wasn't time to spare for squabbling?
Good question.
She's like, how do you fucking keep these things from happening? It was hard to comprehend that this quiet evening had turned into a trap that nearly killed Leane. If even the ground itself could not be trusted, then what could?
Nothing.
Egwene shook her head, too tired, too sore to think of solutions at the moment. She barely noticed when the floor tiles turned from gray to a deep brown. And then she's like,
I was
what?
like,
Why is there a bunch of brown
concerning.
Aja here? What the fuck is going on?
And they're like, why are you here?
I am lost.
You novice girl. Go back to your novice-y quarters.
And she looks out the window. She's like, yeah, I'm in the right place. And she doubles back. And yeah, they're like, what the fuck?
They're like, you're a novice. Why are you here? And she's like, look outside.
Look out the window. And they're like, oh, no. Oh, dear. What happened, Allie?
At the tower had a big switcheroo happen.
Yeah, it freaked them with...
The novice quarters got put right in between the brown Aja quarters.
Yeah, a chunk of the brown Aja quarters teleported to the first floor, and the novice quarters teleported to the third floor.
That'd be so unsettling.
Really fucking bad. What if you were, like, standing on the line? Would you have gotten chopped?
You're dead.
Chop.
Chop.
Not good.
Gotten chopped.
Not good.
Like the American television show.
Yeah.
Chopped.
And everybody freaks out, and Egwene is like, this is getting worse. Like, I know we've been saying there's not enough time for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 6 books now, but now there actually might be no time.
Well, we're finally getting to a point where there really is no time.
I know. You know, I frequently think back to Rand in A Crown of Swords saying to Perrin, I would do one minor thing, but there's no time, and going, sir, yes, there is. And now I'm like, actually now there's really not.
We're getting kind of down to the wire here.
And how do you feel about the increased incidence of bubbles of evil and general fuckery that's been happening the past book or so?
Okay, here's the thing. I'm not a fan of it for them.
No.
I am a fan of it for me as a reader.
It's fun for us. Mm-hmm. It's very fun for us.
I'm like, ooh, scary, spooky, scary shit.
Yeah.
Keep on happening, spooky, scary shit, because it's really fun to read. Because I went, oh, and then I went, has there been 2 bubbles of evil in the same chapter? Yes. But it happened at the Stone of Tears. So it's been 87 books since 2 bubbles of evil happened in the same chapter.
Oh, yeah. You mean
there were 3.
3 of them, yeah. Rand versus...
So we didn't see one of them.
Rand versus Reflection, Perrin versus Axe.
Matt versus Cards.
We saw all 3 of those.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And we haven't had a double bubble since then.
A double bubble?
A double bubble. This is a double bubble.
That's the name of the episode.
The double bubble.
Bubble.
Double bubble.
Yeah.
Double bubble max. Wasn't that a type of double bubble for a while?
Probably. The
max?
gum?
Yeah. When everything was Max back in the 90s.
They loved Max.
They loved Max. They loved things with Z's.
Z's are still cool.
Double O, anything. Like Zooms.
That is also still cool. All of these things are still cool.
Okay, no, but they don't do what they used to, where they like put a Z at the end of the word and then like go, that's marketed to children.
That's true. Okay, well, I actually think we may have exhausted what there is to talk about in this chapter. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? The nature of war, the nature of cosmic evil, Bloodborne, Lawrence of Arabia, Ponyo. Anything else you want to touch on? We do unfortunately need to split these two chapters into 2 episodes just because of restrictions on our time right now. But Allie, anything anything you want to talk about? Say. It's fun.
I'm feeling less grumpy.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
I'm feeling less grumpy, and now that I have had some time to sit and think about the fact that I'm watching Ponyo.
Yes.
I don't know why that keeps working. I
Why
keep
not?
getting into a grumpy mood, and then Gus goes, "But you're going to watch Ponyo," and I'm like so happy about it.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, "You're right. I'm going to watch Ponyo."
We're going to watch it. What if you hate it?
Here's what I think you should do. Every time you know I'm going to be in a grumpy mood, you should just find an adorable film that's just going to be adorable and go and like have it in your back pocket and go like, tonight you're going to get to watch this adorable film.
Well,
I think it will
usually
fix me.
Usually you watch Soul when you're having a bad day.
I do, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
Well, I watch Soul.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Soul's the best movie on the planet. Soul's the best movie, especially if you're an artist. It's one of the best movies on the planet, and it was written for children, and it makes me furious. It's so good. Soul is when I need artistic perspective.
Yeah. Perspective on being an artist, you mean?
Well, yeah, because it's very easy to get lost in the like grind hustle culture of the industry.
Yes.
And forget that like success isn't what's going to make you happy.
It's important to live your life and all that.
Yeah. And like art is only part of your whole life. Oh, it's such a good movie. I watched Coco.
That's a good one.
When I'm dealing with loss.
And Kanto, I feel like, is on the list lately.
And Kanto is always on the list for other reasons. What else? Well, okay, Elemental. I fuck with really hard.
Really
I fuck
good.
with Elemental really hard. I love Elemental. I love Turning Red. That movie got so unfairly maligned.
That's a phenomenal
by conservative press.
That's a really good movie.
It's a phenomenal movie. Inside Out is, of course, always good for emotions.
You know what I watch when I'm having a bad day?
Inside Out 2 was also lovely.
I need to see it still.
Oh my God.
I know.
Okay, wait. Tonight, double feature. Ponyo, Inside Out 2.
Not streaming anywhere yet.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
You positive?
No, I'm looking it up now.
It might be on Disney Plus.
Inside Out 2 debuts on digital streaming this week. In 2 days.
Okay, so in 2 days, we watch Inside Out 2.
Okay, but now you've gotten to pick like 5 movies in a
Well,
row.
okay, so then in between, we're going to have to watch a movie tomorrow. But that you pick.
A Wong Kar-wai film?
Yes.
Which one do I want to watch? Hold on.
Now we're planning all of our movie nights.
Y'all don't give a shit about this. Nobody's listening anymore.
We can do this when our friend comes over. We can watch. We'll have a movie night with our friend. One of our friends is coming over tomorrow.
Yes.
We have friends.
What if we watched As Tears Go By?
Sure.
Allie's eyes just glazed over.
No,
I'm
did
joking.
not.
I'm joking.
Do not even put me down like
Wong
this.
Kar-wai's scintillating debut feature is a kinetic, hyper-cool crime thriller
Say less.
graced with flashes of
I'm
the
down.
impressionistic daydream visual style for which
and
he would
that's
become
what we
renowned.
will watch with our friends
Set
tomorrow.
amid Hong Kong's ruthless, neon-lit gangland underworld, this operatic saga of ambition, honor, and revenge stars Andy Lau Tuk Wah as a small-time mob enforcer who finds himself torn between a burgeoning romance with his ailing cousin, Maggie Chung Man-yuk, in the first of their iconic collaborations with the director, and his loyalty to his loose cannon partner in crime, played by
So he's
Jackie
not the
Chung
loose cannon,
Hook-yao.
even though he's in a relationship with his cousin?
Maybe they're not actually related, whose reckless attempts to make
They're
a name for
cousins.
himself unleash a spiral of violence, marrying the pulp pleasures of the gritty Hong Kong action drama with hints of the head rush romanticism Wong would push to intoxicating heights throughout the 90s. As Tear Go By was a box office smash that heralded the arrival of one of contemporary cinema's most electrifying talents. Now,
Yeah.
don't you want to watch that?
I do.
This podcast is not brought to you by Wong Kar-wai or the Criterion Collection.
Or Miyazaki.
Or the other Miyazaki.
Or Lawrence of Arabia.
Or Lawrence of Arabia. Or Peter
Shogun.
O'Toole. Or Shogun. Or, I don't know, what else did we talk about this episode?
Lots of stuff.
This has been a very wide-reaching episode.
So now we've got the next 3 movie nights planned out.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's your turn again. What are we doing? Are we Wong Kar weighing it?
We may be watching more Wong Kar-wai
Or
movies.
are we watching more Criterion Collection?
This is also Criterion Collection.
Oh.
Criterion Collection being a...
But didn't you want to also watch Taxi Driver at some point?
Yeah, but that went off the channel. It went off at the end of July.
What else is there?
I don't know.
On the Criterion channel. Pull it
A
up.
fucking lot.
Criterion channel. People check it out. It's got good movies on it.
It has a lot of good movies
We could
on
probably
it.
watch Taxi Driver somewhere else.
Probably.
I'm sure it's somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, what other movies are you looking at?
Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai.
Ooh.
Blood Simple. Mulholland Drive. The Master.
Taxi Driver's
right there. Okay, good. Oh, Rear Window. I've seen that,
Rear
though.
Window's so good. Okay, I picked that one for my next one.
That's fine. What else do I have on here?
Yeah, Gus and I alternate usually, except for the times when I don't.
Ooh, they have a collection of starring Philip Seymour Hoffman. We should watch these.
We definitely should watch these.
All right. Anyway, nobody's listening anymore. So, you
don't know
Thanks
that.
for listening to us talk about everything except the Wheel of Time today.
That's not true. We talked about the Wheel of Time a bunch.
We talked about the Wheel of Time for 25 minutes.
Well, there wasn't a lot to talk about. Liana almost fell through a floor.
That's true.
Which we related back to
Lawrence
of Arabia.
Yes.
So a lot of that was just us talking about the chapter.
That's true. Thanks for listening, everybody. We have social media if you want to know what we've got going on. It's linked down below. I guess follow my Letterboxd. I don't fucking know.
Well, okay, follow Gus's Letterboxd because Gus is doing
I don't
intentionally
know how to
okay,
follow someone on Letterboxd.
Read a couple
Want me to read
of
some?
these.
Okay,
Yes.
we watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and I said a film about a highly dysfunctional workplace.
Which is true.
We watched Spirited Away, and I said I would take a bullet for that little rat.
It's true.
Lawrence of Arabia, I wrote, got jump scared every time Sir Alec Guinness showed up.
because
he's got a spray
a
tan,
horrible spray
and
tan?
I
and
read.
it made us very uncomfortable every time he showed up.
I read the Wikipedia page, parts of it, and apparently Alec Guinness patterned his Arabic accent after a conversation he had with Omar Sharif.
Well,
It's not bad.
It's not.
He's just white.
he's just so clearly white.
Yeah.
That I was like, hang on.
Oh, here's a
that's
good one.
white guy, and then got relieved every time Omar Sharif showed up.
The Sandlot. My review, big ass hat.
It's true. Every time he has that hat on, I'm like, oh my god.
Chungking Express. My review, kind of a suspicious quantity of goldfish.
It's true. That was a lot of goldfish.
There were a lot of goldfish in that movie. She keeps bringing goldfish to his house. Kiki's delivery service. Kiki's mom could have given her a change of clothes or something.
That did strike me as odd. She only had one dress. I was
only
like,
had
she
one.
could have had more dresses than that.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We have social media if you want to know what we've got going on. It's linked down below. We also have a Patreon if you want to support us that way. It's patreon.com/wheeltakes. And you can always leave us a rating and or a review, which helps a lot. Other than that, anything else, Allie?
You now know way more about our movie nights than you ever wanted to.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.